All right, so to cap this section off, we're going to talk about the proper conventional layout for a React app. We're not following it. So far, we've been making a single component, num picker, hello, whatever it's called, and we render it directly into the DOM. And this allows us to have exactly one num picker. Usually our apps are much more complicated. So what we'll do, in this case, the slides talk about a hello component. Instead of having our hello component in our index.js file, we're instead going to make a hello.js file and put that component in there. So one component per file. We'll break it up. We might have 5 different components, 5 different files. Then what we do is we create an app component. And our app component combines whatever other components we want into a single element, into a single component that we then render. So in this case, we have our app component, which is the conventional name. You could call it anything else, but that's standard. And then that is the one thing you render into the DOM. So it might itself have a hello component, a goodbye component, a num picker, a to-do list, a form, whatever is in there. It doesn't matter. And each of those might have multiple subcomponents beneath them. So this is an entry point into our code. It makes it clear where the top of our app is that combines all the components. And it's usually the only thing rendered in your index.js. Your index is usually very short compared to your other components or your other files that contain components. Also, we do have to pay attention to the order of our script tags. If inside of our index.js, where the app is, we are creating a hello component, or we're calling upon the hello component, we need to make sure that we know what that is, that JavaScript is aware of it. So hello.js comes before index.js. Okay, so let's try it out. We have a simple hello component that we've already written a couple videos ago, and it's in our index.js. So we are going to make a new file. So we're going to call it, the convention is to have it be the same name as your component. So hello.js. And then inside of here, we're going to take everything, well, almost everything from our index.js, all the component code, and put it in here inside of hello.js. And we'll save. And so now we have this hello component on its own. Now in our index.js, we're going to create our app component. So we'll do class app extends react.component, just like that. And in the render, for now at least, let's just do a div that we can put a hello component inside of. Now we could just do the hello on its own, but this will allow us to have multiple components inside of here. Then instead of rendering our hello component into this div with the ID of root, we're going to change this to be the app component and make sure we save. Now this is still not going to work because right now our index has nothing to do with this hello.js file. So we're also going to need to link to it. So I'll just duplicate this line. And remember, it does need to come before our index where the app is because we're using that hello file. So now if we save, let's see if it works. If all goes well, we should just have a single hello on the page. It's not going to be impressive. Oh, and there is an error in here. I'm not returning anything. All that I did was just write this code, but I'm not actually returning it from render. So that's going to be a problem. Now, if we refresh the page, there we go. We're getting our hello component. And this allows us to do something like this. Put 3 hello components in there. Now that's not very useful when they are all identical, but in the next section, we're going to see how to add unique data and properties to our components to start to differentiate them and make them more flexible. So we could also take, for example, this component, which is the num picker component from earlier, and make a new file in our directory. Where are you? And call this numpicker.js. And then in that file, we'll paste this component in. But what we're going to alter is this last line. We get rid of this. We're not rendering it anymore from the numpicker file. Now we would go to our index.html and make sure we include numpicker.js. Make sure it's JSX. And then inside of our app, which is in the index.js file, let's do one hello. And then after that, let's do one numpicker component and save. And if everything goes to plan, there we go. So we have one component up here, which is the hello component, and then a num picker down below. And let's just make sure. If we roll a 7, is it still working? I swear, every time I need a 7, it takes forever. There we go. We win. Okay, so that is a standard structure. Later on, which is actually not that far on in the course, we'll be working with Create React App, which sets all of this for us. It connects everything, so we'll have less to stress about. But for now, we make an app component, and this is standard pretty much always in React, and that is the single thing you render. And inside of it, you might have a whole bunch of other components. In our case, we only have 2, but each of those might have 5 or 6 components inside of them, and so on. Okay, moving on.